investments in things that people want to buy back into the center of the store with refrigeration, with lighting, organic and fresh products. Instead of just putting them around the perimeter of the store, how can we bring those back to the center of the store to get people to go down the center? To create different assortments and make the center of the store want to engage, and they'll want to spend their time. I mean, all of us, our most precious commodity we have is time. It's not money, it's really time. We only have so much time. And your shoppers, just like all of us, have to decide every single day, how much time am I going to spend in that store? And so, it's our belief that if we make it fun, we make it exciting, we make it educational, people will go back down the center of the store. So a little bit more on that. When you start to think about different departments within the store, you think about personal care and health and beauty, and how that's kind of a little indulgent in life. But again, just simply putting products on the shelf doesn't necessarily engage you in that feeling of satisfaction and indulgence. More information on the product. I mean, when you think about the product information today, it's really, you have to take the product up, you have to turn it around, you have to read it. Font size is very small. It's hard to read. And so there's just not a lot of information compared to, the competitive set, which I would profess is the internet, and how much information you can literally get at your fingertips on the internet. So how do we capture and harness that power of information and put it inside the center of the store into brick and mortar? Seems like I have to click this about 4 times. So we call it illuminating the pathway to purchase in the center of the store. Lighting has the power to invite and to communicate. When you put light on product, it looks fresher, it looks cleaner, it's just a much better presentation. It gracefully captures and invites you into the product, and it moves you to buy more and more frequently. And we're going to talk about some of the testing we've done in not only checkout but different parts of the store. But the reality is it works. Now, but as far as a number, they're all over the board because of how you implement that, whatever your strategy is. To light one item, to light a whole department, to light a whole aisle. And so how you do it makes a big difference in what the end results are going to be. So once again, remember that image in the beginning, we looked at that A&P store. Now look at this shopper coming in, and look at how, and again, this is conceptual, but look at how the things are lit that you really want to draw the customer's attention to. Lighting draws your eyes to the product you like. So if you want to change behavior with your customer, one, get them down the aisle so that they can buy, but number two, the things you really want them to look at, you can focus and you can use lighting to do that without traditional methods like tags and things of that nature. So we've done a lot of work with putting lighting on checkout racks, and we asked consumers after one installation, we did some focus groups, and we asked them what was their perception of the lighting in the product. And some of the things that came back is they thought the things were more noticeable, they thought it was cleaner, they thought it was fresher. And the one that really blew me away, and maybe it's because I'm too cynical about some of these things, quite frankly, but the one that blew me away is overwhelmingly the people who were interviewed said it was a better value, that the things that were lit were a better value. And that was kind of surprising to me. I thought it would be just the other way around. They're trying to get me to buy something I really don't want. When we first started doing this in 2012, I think it was, we tested with a retailer LED lights at checkout. We had 8 test stores and 8 control stores. We had the sales volume that was being sold off the racks every single week, and we knew how many customers were checking out. So, and the racks were the same, the planograms were the same, the pricing was the same, the promotions were the same. Everything was identical. The only difference was that 8 stores had LED lights on the checkout and the other 8 stores did not have LED lights on the checkout. And you can see the results were in that 15% range. And the interesting thing, unlike a promotion that goes up 20% and then goes back down to baseline, after about 40 weeks of testing, the 8 control stores were still running about 15% higher than the control stores. So it just has a way of, when you're checking out particularly indulgent items and childhood favorites, it just has a way of engaging you, and the product again looks fresher, cleaner, and you start to think back about, I'm hungry, I deserve a reward, I have a sweet tooth, and I worked hard today. And so the reality is it worked. So we've also done testing in doing feature sections within the store. This is a kind of an organic pasta section within the overall pasta section. So let's say the pasta section was 16 feet or 24 feet or whatever. This was a 4-foot section, and we just lit that particular section. So you can see that the sales went up, and this is in test versus control per 1,000, but the units went up 36% in the items that were lit. So it changed behavior. It got people to look at the things that you want to, maybe it's your own brands, maybe it's your organic products, maybe, whatever your marketing strategies are, whatever you decide to light is where the eyeballs are going to go. We also did some testing around different, cookie sections and just featuring like a certain product, say a 12-inch section on the shelf with 2 or 3 facings. And we saw tremendous lifts, double, 50%. I mean, crazy lifts, right? That the lighting, again, and traditionally, tactically, as retailers, you probably put tags there and said 10 cents off, 20 cents off. And in some cases, we were doing that with tags and lighting. In other cases, we were just doing it with feature lighting. So these are some of the numbers, and the ranges are kind of all over, and it depends upon the implementation of how you do it. This is a store in Hong Kong, okay? What's interesting about this store is look at the amount of lighting that's up on the ceiling. Very little lighting that's up on the ceiling. Traditionally, in this country, we spent billions of dollars as retailers forcing lighting from the ceiling down to light the entire store. And when you think about it, that's really an inefficient use of power and energy. And it really doesn't do much to the shopping experience. But look at the mood in this store and how it's dimmer, it's quieter, it's softer, it's things we're all looking for in our lives, right? But then they put all the lighting right onto the product to feature the product itself. Once you put the power in, and you put a power system, a low voltage power system in, then you can start to do other things beyond lighting, like you can hook beacons into it. You can do light boxes. You can do small monitors. I even thought maybe you could put smell. You could have the aroma of chocolate in the candy aisle that could be utilized with that. With a 12-volt power system, there's a lot of different things that you can run, use very little energy, but once again, break up the shopping experience, make it interesting, add value information, etc. You can see on this particular candy rack, you can see the sign up at the top that's on top of that candy rack, and then these are like light boxes on the shelf. I think I have some other pictures that are better than this, other slides. So this is a U.S. retailer that's decided to create a different shopping experience and put LED lights on both the sides of the aisle. And again, we talked earlier about the health and beauty aids and the desire to pamper yourself, to indulge, and it just creates a much better experience. This is a New England retailer that did a similar thing, but you can see that the navigational devices up at the top, you can see that you can quickly see the section. You kind of, what this happens to be a picture of skincare and how you can get to that area, and once again the LED lighting on the product itself. Different angle again. With the light boxes and the film up there, you can basically change out those transparencies, if you want to do it once a year, or if you want to do it more often than that, or not at all. But you can do your branding, and you can tie it into the motif of the store.
Can move a little bit closer to the laptop.
Okay. So here's another example of a retailer in the U.S. using LED lighting. This retailer decided that they didn't want every end cap to be a different manufacturer's end cap and to look like the store across the street. So they invested in these end caps that were part of their strategy, their brand, if you will. And then look at the LED lights that are down the aisles, and look at the presentation. Look at down the aisle, how dark the aisles look down there. But I can tell you, because I've been in the store, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. These are things that the internet can't do, right? They can't enhance the shopping experience. The internet is the internet, right? But the brick and mortar that you guys own, you can enhance that much more effectively. So here's a candy section in a store. Not the greatest looking end cap there, so that wasn't the purpose of the photo. But this particular candy section is on motion detection. So similar to the freezer cases and things like that, so when you get close, and the way it was set up is it kind of waterfalled together. So there were 7 sections, and the 2 outside ones lit up first, and then the next 2, and then the last 2, and then finally the middle section lit up. And they were set to stay on for 3 minutes, and then if there was no action, the lights went back on. So once again, drawing attention, trying to bring that customer down the aisle as they pass by. They look at the, here's this, once you're in the aisle now, you can see the pegs being lit, you can see the lighting on the product. Here's a convenience store for not a lot of money, okay? This particular convenience store had invested in the coolers, the equipment, and everything was in the store, but for a few $100s, they totally changed the experience. And they changed the experience not just for this week or this month. This type of experience will last for the next 5, 7, maybe as long as 10 years, depending upon how long they're burning the lights. And if you have questions at the end of the session around energy usage or how long the equipment lasts and things like that, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. This is another convenience store chain on the East Coast, and they've decided to put LED lights everywhere, not only at the checkout, but in the center of the store, and they're matching the cooler. You can see the cooler back in the back, and for literally a few $1,000s, this retailer has changed the entire experience of the store. You go in there and everything is vibrant, it's fresh, it's clean looking, and actually the owner of the chain said to me, he said, "I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I will." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Very best investment I could make." He said, "For a few $1,000s per store, you're just totally, it's changing how the customers that come into my store, how they perceive the experience, compared to other investments that he could make." That was his opinion anyway. Bottles, whether it be liquor, wine, olive oil, and things like that, are really great with LED lighting. And so this is a picture of a liquor store that's actually lighting the wine section, and you can see the monitor that's up here adding more information for the consumer around pairing and things like that. This was, I actually took this photo of going through an airport. This is, I think it was a duty-free shop or something like that. But once again, the experience and what you can see that they're doing with light boxes, not unlike the grocery store that I showed you, the overhead lighting. It's just a different size, but they're putting them on the sides and creating, whether it's their own branding or it's certain branding that they want to feature, or they're working with their suppliers on certain marketing things. But once again, look at how the lighting changes the experience. Now this is one of those build slides again. Okay. So another retailer we did testing was side by side in different stores. But look at this crouton section with just traditional almond-colored traditional gondola shelving, and then look at just having a few light strips under. Look at the difference in the presentation. Your eyes go to that? You can kind of experience that through a PowerPoint presentation. So essentially, in summary, that the technology is here to change that experience in the center of the store if that's something that you want to do. It's affordable. You can use lighting to feature different departments. You can move the lighting from one section to the other. The technology is, again, it's very easy to use. And the other thing is, once you put in the power infrastructure system in the store, let's say you made a decision and you want to potentially put LED lighting in your entire store. Let's say you have a 60,000-foot supermarket. Okay? For not a lot of money, you can install the power system and use it, or use some of it, use all of it, use a little bit of it, and change it over time. Because similar to your home, when somebody built your home, they decided that there needed to be a plug here and a plug here and a plug here, and now you're going to pick up the lamp from here and you're going to take it and you're going to plug it in over here, right? Well, if you think about this strategically, you can outfit your store to be able to do all the things I'm showing you and change over time, where you can add different light boxes and monitors and things like that. So when you think about lighting, think not only about just the lights, but the whole infrastructure and the strategy around building that shopping experience. And that's basically all I have for this afternoon. Do you have any questions on lighting? Yeah.
What about color? Color lights.
Joe?
Oh,
Speak up.
sure. You mean you can't hear me? All right. What about the use of color lighting? Have you explored that, or?
We have a little bit. I will tell you, colored lighting doesn't, it seems like it would probably be a good idea, but it doesn't, it's not as effective as just traditional white lighting. As it interacts with the packaging, it just looks different. The manufacturers spend a lot of money with the packaging, billions of dollars coming up with the packaging, and the colored lighting will have a way of extorting it in a way that it just doesn't look natural anymore. But to pick up on lighting, if your company doesn't have one, you should think through the strategy for lighting as far as the color. It's normally expressed in Kelvins, and Kelvins is kind of a light range from more of a yellow look to a real almost like a blue look. And a lot of the coolers are about 5,000 Kelvin, those convenience stores I was showing you. So it's a pretty white-looking light. It's very, very vibrant. But if you want a softer experience, you can step that. It's still a white light, okay? But you can step it down to 2,500, 3,500 Kelvin.
Are there ways that manufacturers can adjust their packaging to look even better under LEDs compared to regular lighting?
I think the answer is, well, the question is, if you didn't hear it, the question is, can manufacturers do it? And I think as LED lighting onto packages becomes more predominant, I think they will start to do that. The answer is they can. It's kind of like the chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah, which one?
When do you invest versus waiting?
Thank you.
Questions on heat, power, anything? Or
you mentioned you had done a survey on the front-end checkouts, and there was a value perception on the front-end checkouts when
Right.
they were lit with LED.
Right.
How about inside the store? Did the sections inside the store also have a value component, or have you not surveyed?
we have not done those intercepts to ask consumers about that, but it would be very interesting.
We have one back here.
Yes.
Did you have a question?
Just a question, is there a failure rate that you've kind of looked at for LEDs as to, I know you talked about the length of time that they should be operable, but I mean, is there a failure rate for that?
Well, and I should have brought an LED light to demonstrate, but LED lights are very, usually if I'm demonstrating that, I'll take a strip, and I'll take a screwdriver, and I'll do this. Now, a traditional fluorescent tube, I would have broken it. But with LED lights, they're extremely durable. And from we all grew up with fluorescence, right? The bulb went out, so we changed the bulb. And that's how we all grew up. LED lights don't behave that way. What LEDs, the small little diodes or the crystals that are inside the LEDs, they dissipate over time. They'll start to lose some of their vibrance that are around. Well, let me also say, there's quality LEDs and there's junk out there. So if you're a retailer and thinking about doing this, you should make sure that you buy quality and it's UL approved and a lot of the standards. Because with 12 volt technology, there's not a lot of standards like there are around 110 volt. So there is junk on the marketplace. But generally speaking, if you buy good diodes, okay, if your system is engineered correctly and the diodes are high quality, you should get around 60,000 hours before it starts to dissipate. So around 5-6 years, if you put a light meter on it, you could probably see it's not quite as vibrant as it was when it first. Now, around 7, 8, 9 years, you're probably going to start. But they never really go out per se. They just get dimmer over time. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm not sure how important it is for ASHRAE standards here in the U.S. and different states, but I know in Canada we have to consider especially the amount of lighting we're outputting in a store. What's your experience with that, and how much of that has been challenged on your team or your overall process and review of this? Because now you're adding a tremendous amount of extra lighting into a store, right?
Well, it depends on the application. It depends upon if it's just a net addition or if you're reducing something. But the reality of an LED light, it uses about 1 watt per foot. And so if you look at the amount of energy you're really burning, like a checkout rack, like I showed you that checkout rack, that's probably about 12 to 15 cents a day to run that checkout rack. So, from a store's perspective, if you looked at that on your energy bill, I don't know that you'd even see it, compared to all the other things you're running in a store. So we haven't had I've not encountered anybody, people ask the question, but I haven't basically people are pretty excited. People are just going to LED lights, period.
Right, but you might have to do the whole entire store, including your ceiling lighting, in order to stay within the parameters.
And a lot of people are doing ceiling lights and LED lights as well.
Yeah, it's a traditional T8 or won't work anymore.
Right.
In your deck there, you showed multiple different applications for categories that it would be used on. Is there any that are more effective than others? If a retailer wanted to try it out on specific categories first, what would you recommend?
The more testing you do, the more you want to test. It's kind of like when you don't understand something, you're kind of just naive. And then the more you learn about something, your thirst for knowledge. And we would like to do more. But I'll tell you what does work. And that is any category that's impulsive, that's probably not on the shopping list. And when you start to look at things like, maybe cereal and things like that, we haven't done a lot of testing, but more around liquor and candy and snacks and different organic and different feature products in the store. So that's where I would start. I would step back from your business and say, what do you really want to accentuate? What business do you want to grow? And that's where I would start to do my testing. This would be my recommendation.
Any other questions?
Yes?